Good afternoon. It's Tuesday, the 1st of June. It's a warm, sunny day. I am told it is 23 degrees here in Birmingham. Nevertheless, I have a nice hot cup of tea. I also have a parcel to unbox. Here it is. So let's get to it. Two things in here. Let's have a look. This is the first and the smallest, and it is Lore and Legacy Quick Start Guide from Empyreal Games or Empyreal Media Productions. There, it's very small. The media productions down there. So this is the Quick Start, and you can get this from drivethrurpg.com. Okay, I would say I don't know what this is about as such from the cover. There's nothing on the back cover, so that's my. I would say if you have this and you're going, what's this? But this is okay. Okay, so there's almost no introduction on the front, nothing on the back. So that's a little disappointing. So if you pick this up, you don't know what this is about. Somewhere in the depths of the galaxy we call the Milky Way, in the heart of the swirling cloud of cosmic dust, illuminated by the bluish light of a distant and gigantic star, lies a fantastic world called Empyrea. Over the millennia, several species settled on the mysterious planet. The first were the Astarites, now distinct. Then came the young races that are the Elfins, Orcs, Dacti, Agamids, and humans. If these people know that their origins are to be found on distant stars, none of them remember precisely where they come from, nor the circumstances of their arrival. All that remains of their race's past before arriving at Empyrea are vague legends, a few names with an atavistic resonance, and artifacts, the purpose of which is long forgotten. The science that once made interstellar travel possible is lost. Here and there lie the wrecks of ancient vessels on which nature has regained its rights. All of their valuable components have found a new use in the cities and villages established on the surface of Empyrea by the descendants of their crews. The old devices, whose operation is now enigmatic, are now referred to as arcana technology. In short, Empyrea has become the perfect illustration of the third law of the great novelist Arthur C. Clarke. Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Okay, so this is in that case, is a science fiction sort of fantasy post-apocalyptic setting on a distant world. I'm quite a fan of that kind of sort of planetary kind of romance sort of thing. A little like, well, technically, Empire of the Petal Throne falls into that category, as does Skyrim's of Jurune. They're all on essentially worlds that have lost contact with greater space. Disasters have befallen them, and it is now thousands of years later. In the case of Tekkamel, tens of thousands of years later. So the characters come from Batira, Creator City, explained here, and they belong to Hero, the Freelancers Guild. So they're basically heuristical exploration and reconnaissance operations. Essentially, they're sort of historical mercenaries and explorers and scavengers and the like. Then we go into the rules. Essentially, it's multiple dice, so D10s are useful when a player GM uses an ability, D6 when characters want to perform an action for which they don't have a specific ability, and D8s are used to calculate damage during conflict in certain situations. And basically, you've got an explanation of the rules and the terms and the attributes here. Very quick explanation, just 2 or 3 pages, explaining how the game works, and then you go into fortune and adversity dice and combat. Combat is explained fairly quickly, just a few pages, and the artwork, basically nice artwork in here. Basically, penning, that's really nice. And I mean, a little bit, I would say, not quite necessarily. It's not chainmail bikini, of course, but you've kind of got that style of armour there, you know, it's a little bit too form-fitting, you would think. Then we have pre-generated characters. Okay. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, and each of them, you've got a character sheet and a full explanation of what the character is, what they are equipped with, and their traits, essentially what they can do. So, Kato, human male, what can you do? Simply put, you're a professional warrior. You know how to use swords, shields, and armour. Quick and mobile, you're not afraid of danger, and always on the front line against worse creatures. Your enchanted longsword you inherited from your uncle gives you a definite advantage in battle. It's an etheric longsword on a standing success. The target's magic resistance is hard for the next 3 turns. So that's quite useful. We've got an explanation of the abilities such as alchemy, arcanotech, charge is an ability, basically the ability to successfully run at somebody, wearing heavy armour, soothing aura, stamina, and so on. And we've got basically a mechanical man, robot, or something there, essentially indicating this is a science fiction fantasy series or setting. Sorry, explanation of magic and quick explanation of the various spells that appear in the quick start. And then we go. I mean, that's just it. So that's just that, and then we go into the adventure, Froglins in the Mist. Its introductory adventures are tended to be played with the pre-generated characters included in the booklet. It's simple, old-fashioned scenario with a relatively linear set of events. It can possibly serve as a prologue to a longer campaign, especially if you decide to play the adventures included in the Lore and Legacy rulebook. Okay. Essentially, there's a bit more explanation about the world, what's going on, and then you get into the first act, a new mission, and start delving. Basically, the first action sets it up. The freelancers accept the mission, what they're going to do. There's a distressed celestial barge was spotted above the mangrove of Rama, about 2 days walk south. Rama's, I don't know. I'm possibly thinking that's a nice callback to the quote at the front from Arthur C. Clarke after one of his best novels, Rendezvous with Rama. Essentially, it's possibility that that this celestial barge is the Jovial Jubilee, which left earlier today, and the freelancers accept this mission, asked to go to the crash site as soon as possible to determine the presence of survivors as necessary to give them assistance. So Act 2, they're on the road, and essentially you've got a quick map of the route. So you might encounter a creature or two again. Artwork's really kind of nice, and I do like this. There'd be heavy, sort of pen and ink is really gives it a nice feel. They discover the wreck. In Act 3, Muddy Waters is the next bit. They basically go and explore some elsewhere, and get on to the confrontation in the last act, and then encountering the Froglins. The title. There we go. And I'm looking at this. This artwork sort of reminds me of things like Russ Nicholson's artwork for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay and the Fighting Fantasy subtitles back in the early 80s, but also a little bit of what's it called? Of Earthdawn as well. Fastest role-playing game from the early 90s. Nice map of the village as well. And lastly, you've got a best view of the Froglins explaining who they are, what they represent as a threat. And quick NPC list at the back. And that's it. That's the Lore and Legacy Quick Starter Guide. As I say, available on drive-thru-rpg.com. And basically, obviously, in print and PDF. So yeah, this is a French role-playing game, post-apocalyptic fantasy. So a little territory, a little bit like Earth Dawn, Tecumel, Jurune, but definitely Tecumel and Jurune have that science fiction element as well as this. So I'm definitely giving this a review in the near future, something small which I can fit in fairly quickly, quick explanation. I always like looking at a quick start because essentially it boils down to what the designers intended with their game. So here's the starting point. Here's what the essence of the game is, and gives the referee and the players a taster for what's to come in the core book. Well, thank you very much for watching another unboxing in the Nook. If you've enjoyed this, please do click the like button. And of course, if you have any feedback or comments, I do take the time to read those, and I appreciate you taking the time to add them. And if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings in the Nook, then please do click the subscribe button. Then you'll be notified when I upload a video of me with a nice hot cup of tea, parcel, and an interesting book to talk about. Again, thanks for watching another unboxing in the Nook. I'll be back soon with another one. Bye for now.